Try something smart to chew on. The Lunchroom on RCI, Monday to Friday, 12:45 to 2 p.m. The Lunchroom, informative, enlightening, provocative, engaging. The Lunchroom on RCI, food for thought. The station that gives you, more lunch.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International for Tuesday, the 18th of November 2025. And we are on to program number 1489 of the Lunchroom. I'm your host, Calix George Jr. Now, of course, in addition to 101.1 FM, you can also get us at our website, rcistlucia.com. We are streaming live there, as well as on Facebook and YouTube. Of course, our Facebook page, you just have to search for the official page of Radio Caribbean International. And please be sure to like and share that as well with your friends and family. Of course, it is a call-in program. You can call in to tell us what's on your plate today, this Tuesday. And the number to do so is 452-3046. Again, 452-3046, as well as our WhatsApp number. That is 724-0008. You can call in or message in on WhatsApp. Again, that number is 724-0008. In just a bit, we're going to be speaking about a new initiative going to be launched next month on December the 4th, and it's called Consumer Connect. It's a collaboration across a number of various partners and agencies here in St. Lucia, and that is in fact going to be our dish of the day in just a bit. But first, we want to send out some birthday greetings to Mr. Hildreth Lewis, architect. Mr. Hildreth Lewis, happy birthday to you, sir. And we do hope that you're having a fantastic birthday celebration. And also, birthday greetings going out to a young entrepreneur by the name of Dinell Florius. Happy birthday to you. Hope you're having a fantastic birthday as well. And also to Mr. Eric Charles, happy birthday to you. Hope it is a wonderful birthday for you. I'll look back in time for our history of the day. Well, we go way back to the year 1477, and it was a book called The Dates and Sayings of the Philosophers. That was the first dated printed book in England, and it was printed by William Claxton at his press in Westminster. In the year 1626, St. Peter's Basilica was consecrated in Rome, replacing an earlier basilica on that same site, and became the world's largest Christian church building. In the year 1916, on this day, British General Douglas Haig finally called off the First Battle of the Somme in World War I after more than 1 million soldiers were killed and wounded. In 1978, on this day, in Jonestown, Guyana, 918 members of what was called the People's Temple were murdered or committed suicide under the leadership of cult leader Jim Jones. And in 1993, on this day, black and white leaders in South Africa approved a new democratic constitution. We now move on to our dish of the day.
Every bed in our hospitals tells a story of someone's mother, someone's brother, someone's friend. And when that story of care is complete, it's time for the next chapter, home. But too often, discharged patients are left waiting hours, days, weeks, sometimes months, not because they want to stay, but because no one comes. We understand life gets busy, but every extra day they wait means another patient, perhaps in pain, perhaps in crisis, can't get the bed they desperately need. So when the call comes that your loved one is ready, please be ready too. Pick them up, bring them back to the comfort of family, where healing truly continues. Because caring doesn't end at discharge, it continues with you. A message from the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs.
Serving now, the Daily Dish.
And welcome back to the Lunchroom here at Radio Caribbean International. And as I mentioned, of course, we have a guest in studio with us. He is the head of communications at the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards, Mr. Marciano Busby. And he's here to discuss with us a new initiative that is in fact going to be launched on December the 4th at the Harbor Club right here in St. Lucia, bringing together a number of agencies which are involved in consumer rights, consumer protection, and these include entities such as the National Utilities Regulatory Commission, the NERC, the National Telecommunications Regulatory Commission, the NTRC, the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards, as well as the Consumer Affairs Department, and of course, the National Consumer Association. And I believe it is in fact being called Consumer Connect, and it's the first time that these entities are all coming together to partner on this initiative with respect to consumer protection. So, Mr. Busby, thanks so much for joining us here at the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International. Now, of course, you represent one agency, the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards, but perhaps you may want to tell us precisely why all these various entities, which I mentioned earlier on, the NTRC, the NERC, the Bureau of Standards, the Consumer Affairs Department, why are you all coming together to partner with this initiative?
So, all these agencies have a mandate on regulating the consumer side of the utility, and also regulating the agency itself. Now, the problem we sought to address is the critical gap in the consumer protection landscape. So consumers have been confused about where to turn to for help, and the institutions themselves seem to have been working in silos. Now, in coming together with Consumer Connect, we aim to collaborate and allow ourselves the leverage of addressing these sector-specific problems in a format that will aid the consumer in getting redress in a more timely manner. So the most pressing consumer issues would allow the agencies to address those problems. The consumer themselves will know exactly where to turn to, so that whatever issue have been plaguing them could be resolved in a more timely fashion for them.
Now, of course, the NERC, the National Utilities Regulatory Commission, as well as the NTRC, the National Telecommunications Regulatory Commission, they have certain responsibilities for oversight and management of the electricity, the water, as well as the telecommunications utility companies, respectively. And so, of course, that perhaps is pretty well defined. But in many, many other sectors, it's perhaps a little bit not so specific in respect of the kind of protections that may exist in people's minds, who and where they should go. So I'm guessing now that with this this attempt at Consumer Connect, that it sort of resolves some of these gaps in people's minds.
So something that we've been experiencing also is a duplication of efforts, and because we would all be doing our same thing in a silo to address the same issue, as opposed to just doing it together. So one of the issues, for example, might be measurement disputes. So customers might have some measurement dispute, and they'll go to every one of these agencies with that issue. However, the Bureau of Standards has the mandated authority to investigate all measurement disputes. So now Consumer Connect would be intelligent enough to direct a measurement dispute to the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards and to our metrology department. Our metrology department will investigate it And if the customer did originally go to, let's say, Consumer Affairs, now we can send our report to Consumer Affairs, and we can have that comprehensive consumer database where we know, well, okay, this has already been investigated. This is what the findings were. This would be the best resolution. And also, if we've done the legwork, whichever agency is in charge of providing the resolution, they can just focus on resolving the issue. They don't have to go back, do the investigation again, do the measurements, or contact us. All of it is done. So we're working now as a team. All these agencies come together as a team so we can aid and protect our consumers.
Now, is this in some way being promoted by some sort of external agency? I mean, this idea of all these agencies coming together, what is the genesis of this push towards Consumer Connect?
Again, it's from the Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Ministry of Commerce. You know, in its recognition of certain patterns and just trying to be more efficient with the way we work. So as a result, we came together and we realized that we do need to have this collaborative outlook on. So Consumer Affairs Department and the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards, we already were working very closely. So it didn't take much for the National Consumer Association to get involved, because they would be directing certain issues to us. And then we also saw that some of the issues would have been originating from utility inquiries and telecommunications inquiry. And we all operate within the same framework. Well, not within the same framework, but we all operate with the same objective.
Right.
And that is to investigate customer complaints, consumer complaints, and resolve them. So it was just logical that such a step be taken, that we come together and pull our efforts together.
Now, of course, bringing together all these agencies, I assume that there's some sort of legal document of some sort that is actually going to guide how all the agencies are in fact going to work together. Is there sort of a memorandum of understanding in respect of how all these various agencies are going to work together, given the fact that each of you have different legislation? You'll be working on the Standards Act. You've got there's a Consumer Protection Act. There are these respective acts for the NERC and the NTRC. But of course, it all has to gel together, I assume.
Well, I will. So I think this one is more a question for the lawyers. I don't know the specific about the legal and the legislative. I'm more of an IT guy myself. But yes, this would obviously have to be something that is mandated through the AG's office and the appropriate ministries and agencies and their legal framework.
So what are some of the practical initiatives that Consumer Connect is actually going to deliver to the consumer to make it easier to be able to perhaps report a complaint or to get redress if they have a problem with a particular product, a particular service?
Well, we were talking about trying to satisfy our consumers and protect them. This has always been one of our main objectives. Educating the consumer about their rights, because consumers do have rights also, so educating them about what their rights as a consumer would be. Creating an institutionalized framework, creating public awareness, market surveillance and market research coming together, creating a comprehensive database of consumers, and so we have a better understanding of how our people buy, what they buy, what issues they come against. I mean, one of the mandates of the SLBS is to facilitate trade. So such an effort would allow us to better facilitate trade in addressing some of the technical barriers to trade, creating the satisfaction of basic needs, the safety of our consumers, providing the information, letting customers know that you have a choice, you have choices. There are choices available to you, and letting them know that you have avenues for representation and redress, and that you could, and to let the country know that you can carry out commerce in a healthy and environment, because we're also trying to protect the environment. One way of protecting the environment is to reduce waste. So having products that are more fit for purpose should also create less wastage. So, and hopefully create a healthier environment for our people and for our kids.
Mm-hmm. Now, as of now, for example, somebody who has a complaint, let's take it outside of the utility space, but somebody who may have a complaint about a product in a retail store or something of the sort, where should they go? Who is effectively going to be the first point of call for an individual who's got an issue with the product? Beyond, of course, going to the person they bought it from, and who can they take it to?
So I would like to say that at the launch of Consumer Connect, the first thing they can do is just log on to the app.
So you're going to launch an app? You're launching an app, okay.
Yes, so you can just log on to it.
And tell us a little bit about this app.
Let's wait till the launch on
Okay.
the 4th of December. But right now, the methods consumers and customers and the public use to look for redress is they would either contact Consumer Affairs Department or they would contact the Bureau of Standards. Or some will probably go to NCA, but most likely they go to Consumer Affairs or the Bureau of Standards. And after that, then an investigation would be launched. If they went to Consumer Affairs for some issue, then St. Lucia Bureau of Standards will also aid in the investigation. Could be a measurement dispute or something that might need testing. So we would always be integrated into the testing and the investigation of the matter. If it's telecommunication, because remember, we have the Metrology Act, and anything that deals with measurement, anything that can be measured, the Bureau is the one who has the mandate and the authority to deal with it. So you have measurements, can be length, breadth, time, anything that can be measured, it is under the Metrology Act. And if it's measurement for commerce, then the Metrology Department would get involved. So that's why the Consumer Connect app makes sense.
Of course, sometimes we see in other jurisdictions, larger countries, that these things can become very contentious. You can end up in court battles. You can end up with a lot of situations. And of course, the importance of standards in the context of safety, for example, is something that is really, really important and sometimes maybe not necessarily understood or appreciated locally. Have we seen any of these matters in terms of a complaint where a product was supposed to have performed a certain way it did not, and it ends up causing injury or causing some sort of harm for the individual who was using it?
I don't, not in this time, not in this day and age. We have had certain issues where we came in and we took steps to address certain things. You know, so we do electrical testing. That is something we do at the Bureau and from our electrical testing, we have come to put in place certain conformity assessment measures. So, for example, we have our Christmas lights. There are certain things within our Christmas lights, certain what word am I looking for? Certain features that we look for in Christmas lights that are being imported into St. Lucia. And if these features are absent, then it cannot pass. Some of our electrical things, transformers, fans, you know, there are some of these things we test these things, and if they don't have the necessary features, because it's a lot of these things are now mandated that they need it, they're not passed, and as a result, we've noticed a cut down, a cut in any kind of injurious actions caused by faulty retail products.
I mean, in the world that is so globalized right about now, where individuals are importing from countries all around the world, no doubt it's perhaps an even greater challenge for agencies like the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards, who will now have to effectively, quote-unquote, police these products which may be coming in from so many different parts of the world, where standards may not necessarily be properly aligned to what we expect.
Now, you see, I'm glad you said that, because this is where customers also have to understand you have rights. And if you try and supersede some of those rights, then it could also be injurious to you. So you have to also, one of the rights of a customer is to be informed. So if you're going to look to buy a product, you need to make sure that that product is coming from a safe source.
I mean, they might be attracted to the fact that the product is half the price or a quarter of the price of what they might be getting from a regular supplier, and they're saying, hey, you know, this seems like something that I want to get in here.
Yes, but that's where the customer also have to do their own homework. We had an issue where a guy purchased something and the instructions on the product were clearly there, that this is how it should be used and this is what it should be used for. But then the price was so good, he's like, hey, let me use this and I'll use it in this capacity, which is totally against what was on the instructions. And I mean, one of our compulsory standards deals with labeling, that the product has to have clear and concise label in English on the usage and even the ingredients and stuff of the product. He went and he used it in a way that was totally against what was even on the label. And when things did not work out well for him, then he sought some kind of redress, but then in us doing the investigation, he's like, but this clearly says on the label. So these things happen. But this is why customers need to be informed and know their right, because that is part of the responsibilities of being a customer.
Right. Now, I notice, of course, there are a number of agencies that are coming together to partner here. As we mentioned, the National Consumer Association, the National Utilities Regulatory Commission, National Telecommunications Regulatory Commission, the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards, and the Consumer Affairs Department. But I do suspect there are other agencies that will probably come on board maybe later on. I'm thinking, you know, you've got people who handle pharmaceuticals, and approved pharmaceuticals coming into the country, things like pest control, maybe even food, the food quality as well. I assume that maybe some of these agencies may very well want to, at some point, get into this system of quality control and consumer protection.
I mean, this is just this is Consumer Connect 1.0. I don't doubt that maybe 2.0 will have other agencies coming in. Some agencies are getting into the genesis, into their own genesis, where they'll be regulating stuff like pharmaceuticals, pesticides, So eventually they will probably join on once they themselves get everything up and running.
Indeed. Now, of course, we have been speaking to the head of communications of the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards, Mr. Marciano Busby, and we've been discussing Consumer Connect, a new platform which is being launched come December the 4th, and it hopes to replace fragmented responses with coordinated action and allowing for the tracking of the progress of cases of consumer concerns. Of course, it is the creation of St. Lucia's first database on consumer issues and ensuring better balanced consumer voices with business accountability. Mr. Busby, tell us a little bit about the event. That launch is coming up on December the 4th at Harbour Club, and it's a whole day event, I understand.
Well, it's 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Yes, it is a whole day. It's between government agencies, regulatory bodies, private sector entities will be there, civil society organizations, and individual consumers, all up at the Harbour Club on the 4th of December from 8 to 4:30. Consumer Connect is a bold commitment to institutional coordination, evidence-based policy making, and also consumer empowerment. And through this collaborative effort, we are hoping that St. Lucia itself can position itself as a regional leader in consumer protection, because this initiative aligns with international standardization, and it operating in full accordance with the United Nations resolution on consumer protection and also the CARICOM Treaty. So the lessons learned from this, we're hoping that similar initiatives can be carried out in other developing states. So we also have our regional counterparts having their eyes on this, because St. Lucia is one island, but we also work with for example, we have the CARICOM Regional Organization for Standards and Quality. That's CROSQ. Mm-hmm. So they themselves will be paying attention to this launch, because other islands themselves will see they have already seen the need. Mm-hmm. They've already seen the need. We are all signed on to the WTO, and they themselves know that eventually they will have to create one on their own. So they're looking at us. They're looking at us to see what issues we might have we might encounter, mm-hmm. what obstacles we'll have to overcome. So they know when they launch theirs, that theirs is just as comprehensive. And we did all the learning for them, so they can just launch something more streamlined.
Mm-hmm. You're inventing the wheel for this consumer protection platform, and it is called Consumer Connect. And of course, as Mr. Busby said, it is in fact being launched on December the 4th, something that certainly consumers should be looking forward to. And of course, the ability of an app, something that you can in fact utilize on the go if you've got a problem, is certainly a transformational step towards being able to use this, leveraging technology in this regard. Mr. Marciano Busby, thank you so very much for being our guest here. I know the time flew by very quickly. Any parting words, however, for listeners?
All right, so I will invite you all to also just register. You could start registering on the NCA website, ncastlucia.com. And, we're hoping that very soon, once it launches, that we can start learning from you, and we ourselves can develop a more consumer-friendly environment here in St. Lucia, because we know that there are a lot of questions. Every time we go out and we do any kind of public sensitization, or we just meet with people, we get asked certain questions that seem to be popping up all the time. So we're hoping that once this app gets off the ground, that we will see less of those same questions, because they would have already been resolved, and the people would have been educated and know what steps and measures need to be taken. So we really hope that we can serve you with with the Consumer Connect, and we want you to know that it is a groundbreaking initiative by our 5 agencies: the Consumer Affairs Department, the National Consumers Association, the National Telecommunication and Regulatory Authority, the National Utilities Regulation Commission, and the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards. I almost
forgot yourself.
I couldn't forget the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards. It was just wrong. And we're hoping that this will create, it's not just a project, but we want this to be a permanent transformation for St. Lucia.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much, Mr. Marciano Busby, Head of Communications at the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards, who's been our guest for our Dish of the Day on the upcoming Consumer Connect launch happening on December the 4th, not too long away. And we wish you, of course, the very best in that initiative. That's our Dish of the Day. And when we come back, we'll take in our weather report.
This has been The Daily Dish.
Every bed in our hospitals tells a story of someone's mother, someone's brother, someone's friend. And when that story of care is complete, it's time for the next chapter, home. But too often, discharged patients are left waiting hours, days, weeks, sometimes months, not because they want to stay, but because no one comes. We understand life gets busy, but every extra day they wait means another patient, perhaps in pain, perhaps in crisis, can't get the bed they desperately need. So when the call comes that your loved one is ready, please be ready too. Pick them up, bring them back to the comfort of family, where healing truly continues. Because caring doesn't end at discharge, it continues with you. A message from the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs.
It's now time for our weather report, brought to you by Island Style.
Last year, boy, problems to get shipment of tiles in time for Christmas. This year, Island Style has enough tiles in stock to cover the whole of St. Lucia. And with our Christmas sale starting now, every tile is on sale. Island Style has massive stock, the widest variety, and the very best sale prices on quality tiles and natural stone in St. Lucia. Great deals on beautiful bathroom faucets, vanities and fixtures, tiling tools and accessories. Don't fall for no gimmicks anywhere else. Island Style's annual Christmas sale is unbeatable. Tiles for miles. Deals as far as the eye can see. Start your car, ride your bike, hop on a bus, and hurry down to Island Style Tile and Bath now. Castries, Rodney Bay, and Viewfort. Check Facebook for more details.
This is Radio Caribbean International. It's now time for the weather news.
And the forecast for St. Lucia Valley for the next 24 hours. Winds will be blowing from between east, northeast, near 12 miles per hour or 19 kilometers per hour, becoming lighter or calm during the night. Weather, partly cloudy skies becoming cloudy at times with widely scattered showers. The forecast for the Lesser Antilles: partly cloudy to cloudy skies with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. The tropical weather outlook: moisture and instability associated with a weak low-level trough will continue to cause some cloudy periods with some showers and isolated thunderstorms over the Lesser Antilles during the next 24 hours. Tropical cyclone formation is not expected over the tropical Atlantic during the next 7 days. And that is your weather report, brought to you by Island Style.
This has been RCI's Weather News. For more information, call the Weather Hotline at 454-3452. RCI 101 number 1.
Last year, boy, problems to get shipment of tiles in time for Christmas. This year, Island Style has enough tiles in stock to cover the whole of St. Lucia. And with our Christmas sale starting now, every tile is on sale. Island Style has massive stock, the widest variety, and the very best sale prices on quality tiles and natural stone in St. Lucia. Great deals on beautiful bathroom faucets, vanities and fixtures, tiling tools and accessories. Don't fall for no gimmicks anywhere else. Island Style's annual Christmas sale is unbeatable. Tiles for miles. Deals as far as the eye can see. Start your car, ride your bike, hop on a bus, and hurry down to Island Style Town and Bath now. Castries, Rodney and Viewfo. Check Facebook for more details.
And welcome back to the lunchroom here at Radio Caribbean International. Of course, we've got about some time still before the end of the program, and if you'd like to call in to tell us what's on your plate today, the numbers to do so are 452-3046, again 452-3046, as well as our WhatsApp number, that is 724-0008, again 724-0008. There's an event happening tomorrow being put on by the UE Global Campus St. Lucia, and it's actually entitled Men and Higher Education, Learning, Leading Legacy. And as I said, that is on tomorrow at 7 o'clock. It's actually an online, virtual event being put on by UE Global Campus. In fact, it's the Gender Task Force putting on that event for International Men's Day. And that panel discussion will have a entrepreneur, Mr. Siobhan Bryan from the Empowerment Project, Mr. Erland George, an alumnus of UE Global Campus, as well as a VP for membership of the Alumni Association, Mr. Quint Augustine, part of the Students Guild, and a couple other individuals on that panel discussion. Let's take in a call. Oh, sorry, I thought we were getting a call in at that time. Yes, Mr. Titus Mathra is also on that panel. Mr. Yanil Sam as well, and that's all going to be moderated by Dr. Clarence Henry, who works up at the OECS Commission. Now, I see the light flashing. What is it? Is there something in terms of... Hello? Okay, sorry. I thought we were getting a call in there. Our apologies. So, certainly that is something to take in for conversation in respect of International Men's Day. There are a couple other events happening, so we certainly keep note of that. An announcement coming from the Office of the Prime Minister on over 3,000 government pensioners to receive a $600 top-up on their November pensions. And we read that in just a bit, but first let's go to the phone lines. Good afternoon. Welcome to the lunchroom. What's on your plate today? Okay, no, we lost that call as well. But of course, yes, let's get back to that press release. And it says that more than 3,000 pensioners will receive an additional EC $600 with their November 2025 pension payment, fulfilling the commitment made by Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Pierre in the 2025-2026 budget address. This upcoming payment is part of the government's sustained effort to cushion the impact of the rising cost of living and restore dignity in retirement, an approach reflected in several policy decisions taken since 2022. Previous support to government pensioners, the November 2025 supplement continues a series of targeted relief measures delivered by the government. In July 2022, government pensioners received a one-time EC $500 direct payment. In November 2023, a further one-time payment, relief payment was disbursed to government pensioners. In August 1st of 2024, monthly pensions for government pensioners were increased to EC $725 for minimum. In February 2025, retired public officers who did not qualify for salary adjustments received a one-time EC $500 payment. Support for NIC pensioners. The government has also supported income security for NIC pensioners, ensuring that pensioners under the national insurance system also benefit from regular improvements. In August the 1st, 2024, the NIC minimum monthly pension was increased from EC $300 to EC $500, strengthening the safety net for the most vulnerable retirees. On July 1st, 2025, NIC pensioners received a 3.9% increase in their monthly pension payments. These measures reflect the government's continued commitment to protecting vulnerable groups, honoring the contributions of those who serve the public, and providing meaningful relief while maintaining fiscal discipline. And that really is coming from the Office of the Prime Minister, indicating that, again, another bit of support coming out for the pensioners, both within the public and private sector here in St. Lucia. Quite often we have situations where individuals retire after their life of service, and in many instances they have to continue working. They have to find some means of support because the pension that they have or whatever savings that they have is not sufficient to be able to take them through the period of retirement. And for many, it's a very, very difficult time. And as persons age, especially if it's a situation where they can no longer physically engage in any kind of work. So it can be a very difficult time. It can be a time for, in some instances, the mental wellness is challenged. You have issues of depression, and all of these things are and must be part of an aging policy. And of course, the government has been looking into doing just that. Of course, we heard about the creation of the Department of Elderly Affairs, and so certainly the steps towards keeping dignity for persons as they age is certainly a really important matter that we all have to take very seriously, because it is a fact of life. It's part of the course of life, growing old, and many times some people might tell you, they don't really want to get too old, because they are fearful of the quality of their life. And they end up in situations where they are then dependent on others once again. It is a very difficult thing, certainly, for individuals who have been living independently for all their lives, and they get to a point then when they may have to face requiring assistance for basic things like mobility or taking care of their domestic affairs. And so, of course, these matters are all very, very important. And the need for assisted care is also a major issue. And I think we certainly saw a major shift, somewhat of a revolutionary shift in terms of support for persons, seniors living alone. And that was through the creation of the Home Health Program under the National Initiative for Creation of Employment, sorry. That nice initiative, that nice program, was, of course, something that was started under the Kenny Anthony administration. As although it was meant to deal with the chronically high issues of unemployment, it in fact has and addressed a major issue in terms of senior care in our country. And one can say that in some respects, the fact that such a program even exists in St. Lucia is very, very commendable, because in many countries, even developed world countries, the challenges in terms of care for seniors is quite acute. And that is for a lot of different reasons, of course, because once you're talking about that kind of work, it's human resource demanding. It is sometimes very physical work in terms of what has to be done. And so it really is something that a lot of countries are struggling with right now as they are seeing their populations aging and they want to be able to provide some quality of care. And so we're seeing the challenges in other countries, but here in St. Lucia, I think we certainly are doing perhaps a lot better than a lot of other countries in that regard. Of course, the need for centers and spaces for seniors is still a matter that is certainly important, because not all will be able to remain within the household. And sometimes it becomes challenging for families. And so they end up in situations where they would want to place, mom and dad or granny or auntie or grandaunt into a home. And so, of course, the work that has been done over the years certainly needs to be commended in terms of institutions like the Marion Home, the St. Lucy's Home, the Adelaide and Francis Home, and of course, we also know of a few others, I think, in Vieux Fort. Of course, you've got Comfort Bay, which is a government institution. And those institutions are very important in terms of the care that they provide for our older senior citizens in St. Lucia. And I think also the challenges, when we speak about challenges, for example, in the case of Barbados, we see quite often a lot of individuals who are older, they end up simply just living in the hospital. That is a problem that Barbados has been confronting for some time, the challenge of persons who just simply keep their family members at hospital. Nobody comes back to pick them up, even though they can be sent out, discharged. And so it is certainly something that we've got to look at. We certainly do not want to see a situation where our senior citizens are effectively finding themselves abandoned. And that is why these institutions are very important in terms of the work that they do. So, of course, kudos to them. Kudos to the government for taking action in respect of support with respect to pensions, both at the level of the public sector as well as, of course, in the matter of the national insurance pensioners as well. So we just wanted to make mention of that, of course, as we end our program. We'll be back again tomorrow for another program of the Lunchroom here at Radio Caribbean International. Of course, we'll be taking in Republic Corner tomorrow, so we do hope you can join us for that as well. I'm your host, Calix George Jr., saying goodbye.